Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to the Cricket Happening show today. And well, in this part of the Cricket Happening show, what we are really going to look at is, one is, as you know, today it was the last match of the tri-series here in Zimbabwe between South Africa and Zimbabwe. And well, it was a very tough task for Zimbabwe to actually win the match, as you know, because they had to chase in 20 overs. Today what happened was that South Africans were the ones who batted first, and they put up a score of 274, thanks in the main to Du Plessis, the South African captain, who went on to score his third consecutive century in one-day cricket. He started off with a maiden one-day century in the series and now went on to score his third one-day century, and he was the reason that South Africa put up a strong score on the board of 274. Zimbabwe couldn't really challenge that score. In fact, they had to score at a clip of 10.74 runs per over if at all they had to push South Africa out of the competition, and that could not happen as Zimbabwe were all out for 208. And finally it is going to be Australia versus South Africa tri-series final here in Zimbabwe. So that is the one match that I'll be looking at. And then we are having two matches coming up tomorrow. One is for England, who are really hunting for their first ever victory in a one-day international, the first victory in a one-day international series against India, where India currently already sealed the series 4-0 and 3-0 in fact, because of one being washed out, and the final one is going to be played tomorrow. And well, as far as the final one is concerned, what is going to be very important is to see whether England can salvage something at Leeds in Headingley by putting it across India. But looking at the current form that India are, England have to come up with really something special, and there's a lot of pressure on England, no doubt about that. But whether the only thing to see would be whether England would be able to salvage some face here by winning the final one-day international, or whether India would be making a clean sweep of the series 4-0. So that is something, a short preview of that I would be doing. And then there is also one more test match which is starting up, and that is on the tour of Bangladesh tour of West Indies. There are going to be two test matches which are going to be played, and Bangladesh are having a very depleted bowling attack. And for me, the question would be whether this Bangladeshi bowling, the pace bowlers that they possess, who are vastly inexperienced, would they be in a position to bowl out the West Indians twice in a test match? So that is going to be the question. But the spinners are definitely there's no doubt about that. But what is going to be very important is to see how this series pans out and how Bangladesh shape up. So for me, that would be something. And as I said, for me, one thing is that it would be interesting to see whether the Bangladeshi pace bowlers have the real, in the sense, the real venom in them to actually bowl out the West Indians twice on their own home turf. Well, we'll come back to all that later, but first let us lead the way with the final one-day international match which was played in the Zimbabwe Triangular Series, where South Africa played Zimbabwe, and they said Zimbabwe had a tough task to do because they had to follow certain combinations to push South Africa out of the competition, which they could not in the end. And Zimbabwe were the ones who actually won the toss, and what they did is they immediately wanted to know what target South Africa will be setting. So immediately they decided that they would put South Africans into bat. Well, for South Africa, the start was not so good for them. In fact, they lost both the openers pretty quickly. In fact, the first to go was Quinton de Kock, who was caught by Taylor, the bowling of Chatara, for 2 of 4 balls, and then it was the turn of Madziva to get the wicket of Hashim Amla pretty quickly, caught by Chigumbura for 14 of 22 balls with 2 fours. And then we saw that South Africa were in trouble at that stage at 26 for 2 in the 8th over. Du Plessis was there, the captain was there at the crease, which was a good thing for South Africa. And really Rozo, who has been having a debut where he just faced a single ball and he was run out. The second time, once again, he formed a part of Prosper Utsaya's hat-trick, and today was the third one-day international match in his career that really Rosu was playing, and one was really waiting for really Rosu to really show his talent. Well, one good thing that happened is that finally really Rosu, this talented player, got off the mark with a single, and that was pretty pleasing to see. And after that, what a short and wide delivery, really Rosu showing his talent as he leaned into that cover drive and creamed it into the fence. So really Rosu suddenly started gaining confidence. Du Plessis was there with him to nurture him, so there was a 70-run partnership which was added. Really Rosu played some very good sweep strokes. His confidence increased, and one really saw the talent that is available in really Rosu. And he also played some very good sweep strokes for the spinners. He was not afraid to use his feet. Really Rosu also played some reverse sweep strokes. Du Plessis, on the other hand, has been in some tremendous form in this tri-series in Zimbabwe. Went on to really score pretty well. In fact, he was the one who was acting as the sheet anchor man for this South African team, because he had to do that because he's also the captain of the team, and he decided to stay put at the crease watching what was happening at the other end. And then after that, really Rosu was a victim as he got a ball from Williams. Sean Williams was the bowler, and the ball actually turned in, and really Rosu was trying to give room for himself to cut the ball, but instead the ball went on to miss the bat and went on to hit the stumps, and really Rosu was walking back to the pavilion, bowled by Sean Williams for 36 of 39 balls with 5 fours, which made the score 96 for 3 as A.B. de Villiers slowly strided on to the crease. Well, A.B. de Villiers coming onto the crease, well, it was not so easy for A.B. de Villiers, even though the spinners were in operation. John Nimbu and Prosper Utsaya were bowling, also Mdziva, and it was not so very easy for A.B. de Villiers. Du Plessis, well, he was still there at the crease, but A.B. de Villiers, he struggled, I would say. I mean, there was a stage when the Zimbabwean bowlers could really keep runs in check by actually not allowing Du Plessis and A.B. de Villiers to hit a single boundary in probably, I think it was some 7 overs, that they didn't allow A.B. de Villiers and Du Plessis to hit a single boundary, and that was some pretty tight stuff. After that, see the way that A.B. de Villiers got out. Hashim Amla was the striker. He was batting on 49. The bowler was John Nimbu, the right-arm off spinner. He drove the ball. The ball actually, it was actually in the air. John Nimbu, the right-arm off spinner, dropping the catch, but A.B. de Villiers, in his eagerness to actually give Du Plessis 50, had left the crease, and well, it struck Nimbu's hands and ricocheted into the stumps, and A.B. de Villiers was given out, run out for 16 of 18 balls with 2 fours, which made the score 120 for 4, and then Duminy came in to join Du Plessis, and the score at 120 for 4, 28 overs. It was still a lot of work to be done by the South Africans, and so Duminy put his head down and started giving good support to Du Plessis, who was really playing some beautiful strokes, and Du Plessis was also gaining in confidence as he was coming down the pitch and lofting the spinners for sixes. And then Duminy also, as I said, Duminy was along with Du Plessis, and that was a very good partnership that happened, which really had South Africa recovering from such a situation to take the score to 223 absolutely in the end overs. I mean, if you look at the score, they were really struggling. The Zimbabwean bowlers were bowling pretty well, and the South African score stood at 223. So it was a 103 runs partnership, a composed partnership between A.B. de Villiers, between Du Plessis and Duminy, and finally it was the turn for Duminy to go, as Mdziva had him caught and bowled. Not before Duminy hit a 50, 51 of 62 balls with 3 fours, and then Du Plessis was there, and then, as I said, in the last 6 overs, South Africa managed to get 74 runs thanks to Faf du Plessis, the captain, who went on to score his century, and this was his 3rd one-day international century of his career, and he was gone, caught by Chigumbura of the bowling of Nimbu for 121 of 140 balls with 5 fours and 4 sixes in the 48th over, and then finally the innings with some good hitting by David Miller, who was not out on 10 of 9 balls with 1 4, and Wayne Pownell not out on 10 with 1 6, had South Africa finishing at a very good score of 271 for 6 of their 50 overs. The bowling, Tendai Chatara, 6 overs no maiden, 1 for 31 for him. Madziva 6 overs 2 for 53 was costly. John Nimbu, the right arm off spinner, was a bit costly today, 8 overs no maiden, 1 for 53, but the pick of the bowlers today was Sean Williams, 10 overs 1 maiden, 1 for 38. And Prosper Saya, 10 overs, cost him 55. And Malcolm Bowler, also like Sean Williams, bowling pretty well, 10 overs no maiden, none for 39. As far as Zimbabwe were concerned, they had to actually chase this target at a clip of more than 10 runs per over. They had to get this particular target if at all they wanted to make the tri-series final. They had to win by a huge margin. In fact, they had to score at a clip of 10.74 runs per over, and that was a mighty task for them. Well, today Zimbabwe, what they did is they had a different opening combination, and I thought that was the right move. They brought in Vusi Subanda back. Tino Mavoyo was dropped, and Vusi Subanda is I would say instinctively very aggressive batsman, but well, again the opening partnership didn't crystallize for Zimbabwe, as Vusi Subanda was an early victim. He was run out by De Villiers for 11 of 15 balls with 1-4 in the chase. Sikandar Raza, well, he played some very, very good strokes, and in attempting to do so, once more he succumbed, caught by Miller on the bowling of Parnell for 29 of 32 balls with 4 fours. Masakadza contributing 26 runs of 33 balls with 1-6, was not really looking pretty good today, and then it was all left to Brendan Taylor to become to play a role what du Plessis played. But the problem for Brendan Taylor was that he was doing his job pretty well, but he was not getting any support from the other end, as they lost Sean Williams cheaply to the bowling of Dumini for 3 of 14 deliveries with no boundary. And then Chigumbra was a victim of Really Rosu. Now Really Rosu, as you know, finally got some runs under his belt, and he also got his first one-day international career wicket, as he got Elton Chigumbra with a short delivery when he was caught by Miller for 13 of 32 balls. And then Malcolm Waller fell a victim to Arun Fangiso for 17 of 22 balls with 2 fours. Prosper Utsaya was gone to the bowling of Steen for duck. Madziva was run out for 3. And as I said, Brendan Taylor at the other end was playing well. He was acting as a real sheet anchor, and as and when an opportunity was coming to him, he was really coming down the wicket and lofting the spinners for a 6. And he also hit some very, very good boundaries. And finally, the task became too onerous for Zimbabwe, as Brendan Taylor himself, in the quest for quick runs, succumbed when he was clean bowled by Dumini for 79 of 96 deliveries, 5 fours and 2 sixes. And in the end, it was Tendai Chatara was not out on 10 of 20 balls with 1-4, and Zimbabwe had to be content as to be all out on 208. Thus, victory for South Africa not only by 63 runs, but also giving them a place giving them a chance to play Australia in the tri-series final in Zimbabwe on Saturday. Looking at the bowling figures, Steen 8 overs 1 maiden, 1 for 24. Dumini was the pick of the bowlers today, 8.2 overs no maiden, 35 runs and 3 wickets, and 1 wicket apiece to Mone Morkel, 8 overs 1 for 41. Parnell 8 overs 1 for 39. Fangiso once again, I would say, plied his trade very well. 10 overs no maiden, 1 for 38 with a spin, left arm spin. Really Rosu 3 overs 1 for 17, his first one-day international wicket in his career. De Villiers 2 overs 1 for 13, and du Plessis of South Africa took away the man of the match award. Well, that is as far as this particular match is concerned. So the tri-series in Zimbabwe, Saturday, South Africa versus Australia in Zimbabwe at the Harare Sports Club. So that's the finals of the tri-series, and that would be a great match to watch, no doubt about that. So let's now look at the other cricket happenings here. Now that is tomorrow, as I said, another cricket that's going to happen is going to be the final one-day international. England are the ones who are under the pump. If at all they have to face, they're under some enormous pressure. Alistair Cook, the English captain, is under enormous pressure that whether he is the likely person to be inducted into the World Cup. So a lot of things are going on, and England are under tremendous pressure, and they are the ones who have to salvage something tomorrow, if at all they could put it across India. And for India, everything going their way, but I would be prompted to say that even though India would like to make a clean sweep, I would probably say Sanju Samson should be given an opportunity now. Probably I would say Suresh Raina has been doing well, so why not give some rest to Suresh Raina and bring in, but again with Suresh Raina goals, the bowling spinning would be a weak. So probably either they could drop Ajinkya Rahane and probably bring in Sanju Samson and probably, you know, Virat Kohli's form has been a bit suspect, so probably India can probably take a chance by telling Virat Kohli and Shikhar Dhawan to open the innings and then bring in Sanju Samson at one drop, just to see how he really shapes up. And one interesting statistics in the match against Zimbabwe versus South Africa is Really Rosu is another one who, like Sachin Tendulkar, one of the legends in world cricket, actually when he made his debut, I'm told that he also went the Really Rosu way, where he got he got 2 ducks and then he slowly blossomed. So whether Really Rosu would also be something of the same clan as Tendulkar, one does not know, but looking at the way Really Rosu played, looks to be a great talent in the making. And just talking about this England game, as I said, for India we could do some experiments there, and for England, well, they have to see. But for England, there is another problem that they face tomorrow in their quest, is that Ian Bell, who for me has looked mostly the part to play the spinners. I mean, he has been the best person to deal with the spinners. Unfortunately, is out with a toe injury, and his place is going to be taken. I'm just trying to see who is the person who is going to come in place of him. One could be tempted, I think it could be Gary Ballance, if I'm not wrong. Well, so that is as far as that news is concerned. So tomorrow is the final one-day international between India and England at Leeds in Headingley. And the last but not the least here will be the test tour of the Bangladesh tour of the West Indies. Tomorrow they are going to play 2 test matches, and tomorrow the first test match is going to be played at Arnosvale in St. Vincent. And as I said, for Bangladesh, for me, if you look at their bowling, other than the spinners, the pace bowling department is looking pretty weak, but they don't have experience. Yes, they definitely have some talent in Al Omin Hussain, who bowled very well in the one-dayers, so that will be interesting to see. But looking at the West Indies are looking pretty strong with their batting lineup. Unfortunately, I will have to do it in a very brief manner here because of shortage of time. West Indies are looking pretty good. Their batting and bowling attack is looking pretty balanced. They have some very good spinners, and they have some good pace bowlers too. But as far as Bangladesh are concerned, for me, it would be interesting to see whether this Bangladeshi bowling attack would have the teeth, especially the pace bowlers who have to provide them the breakthroughs. If at all, Bangladesh have to really challenge West Indies, and you know, whether the pace bowling is the one which is a concern. The batting is looking pretty strong as far as Bangladesh is concerned. The spinners are there, so they probably would be hoping that their spinners would be delivering the goods in the form of Nasir Hussain, Mahmudullah, Shawgato Hum, Tajul Islam, who has been drafted in the left-arm spinner. Well, dear fans and subscribers, as I said, I'm short of time here, unfortunately, due to other shows to really catch up. I'll have to end up my cricket show for today. Thanks for your company, and thanks for your continued cooperation to this cricket show. Your host Ram will see you tomorrow. Thank you.